everyone. Myself, Soni Saxena, is going to discuss the chapter number 2, Migration. It's of class 12th geography book, People and Economy. Migration. Here we are going to cover these topics of this chapter, Migration. First of all, we'll discuss about the definition of migration, then types of migration, then causes of migration, and finally we'll be discussing about the consequences of migration. First of all, it's always good to start with the definition. So here it's the definition of migration. Migration, it's the movement of people from one place to another for the purpose of taking up permanent or semi-permanent residence. It means people migrate permanently or for some period of time. If people choose to move, it's voluntary migration. And if they are forced to move for any reason, it's involuntary migration. Over the years, India has witnessed waves of both immigration and out-migration. So, moving on to the next basis of migration. In the census of India, migration is enumerated on two bases. First is place of birth. If the places of birth is different from the place of enumeration, which is known as lifetime migrant, 30% are represented as migrants by place of birth according to 2001 census. Place of residence. If the place of last residence is different from the place of enumeration, which is known as migrants by place of last residence, 31% as migrants by place of last residence according to 2001 census. Streams of migration. Streams of migration. Migration is of two types. Internal, that is within country, and external, that is international, or the migration which takes place between countries. We'll be discussing more about the topic here, but let's understand the migration which takes place at a variety of scales. Like migration, it is between the continents sometimes. When the people, they migrate from one continent to another, it's known as intercontinental migration. The second one, migration between countries on a single continent, means when the people, they migrate between the countries on a single continent, it's known as intracontinental migration. And then comes migration within the same country. Within the same country, the people can migrate from one region to another, one state to another state. So it's called as inter-regional migration. 4 streams under internal migration. So basically we'll be discussing about 2 types of migration: internal, that is within country, and international migration, that is in between the countries. So here comes the 4 streams under internal migration, means within country. Migration's 4 streams, they could be identified as rural to rural, that is known as RR, when the migration takes place from rural area to the rural area. It's known as the rural to rural. Then sometimes according to RU, which says the migration takes place from rural to urban. The third one, UU, means when migration takes place from urban to urban. And lastly, the fourth one, when migration takes place from urban to rural, it's UR. In India, during 2001, out of 315 million migrants enumerated on the basis of the last residence, 98 million had changed their place of residence in the last 10 years. After studying and discussing about internal within country migration, here types of international migration. International migration, it's again of two types, immigration and emigration. Immigration, when the migration takes place into a country, and emigration, when migration takes place out of a country. Here it could be intrastate also, when the migration takes place within the state, or interstate variation, when the migration takes place between the states. So, immigration or emigration. Immigration, when migration into a country, and emigration, when migration is out of. Spatial variation in migration. Economically well-off states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Haryana and NCT Delhi attract migrants. Why? Because of the weather states of UP and Bihar. Because of several reasons. Greater Mumbai also receives the largest number of immigrants because of more and more job opportunities and better life conditions there. So, moving on to the next topic, causes of migration. Once we are very much clear with the topic migration, streams of migration means types of the migration. Now the question rises that why migration takes place. So here the causes of migration. There are many causes of migration. Either it could be economically, for the job or educational opportunities, for their better living conditions, the environment, sometimes socio-political, sometimes natural calamities or the climate, etc. So basically categories in which we can say these are the causes of migration. First one is push factors, another is pull factors. Push factors, by the word only you can understand that the factor which push people to move or to migrate from their place. So these force people to leave their place of origin or residence mainly due to poverty, lack of basic infrastructural facilities, natural disasters or many other reasons are also there which exactly push the people to leave their place of origin and settle down somewhere else. Pull factors. Pull factors means the factors which attracts the migrant and settling down at some other place. So here what are the pull factors which makes people to migrate? It could be access to services, better job opportunities, more entertainment facilities, better transport links, improved living conditions, hope for a better way of life, as well as the family links. Work and employment, it's also the main cause of male migration, that is 38%, and while marriage forms females 65% to move out of their place of origin. But exceptional cases in Meghalaya, it doesn't take place. Consequences of migration. The consequences are observed in the following terms. First is economic consequence or economic consequences. Second is demographic consequences. Third, social consequences. Fourth, environmental consequences. And lastly, we'll be discussing political and other consequences. Economic consequences. The source region is the major beneficiary of the remittance sent by migrants. Remittances from international migrants are of the important sources of foreign exchange for states like Punjab, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. Though the among the remittances sent by internal migrants is very meager, it plays an important role in the growth of economy of the source of area. Remittances are mainly used for food, sometimes social engagements, repayment of debts, treatment, marriages, children's education, agricultural inputs, construction of the houses, and many more. For thousands of poor people living in villages of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, remittance works as lifeline for their economy. Unregulated migration has caused overcrowding and development of slums in cities. The second consequence of migration is demographic consequences. Migration may have profound effects on the size, structure, and growth patterns of populations. With the movement of people from one area to another, all the demographic attributes like numbers, density, growth, fertility, mortality, age, sex, literacy, they all experience a quantitative change in their numerical expressions. Migration leads to sudden increase in the size of population of a place where people are coming, and on the same time also reduces the size of population from where out migration is happening. Migration highly changes the age-sex composition. When we talk about India, in India, most of the male members of the family migrate to a city. This results in regional imbalances as the number of females in their hometown outnumbered the males after migration and vice versa. Social consequences. Migration may have impact on culture and societies. The movement of educated and technically trained people enter the area may not only be seen in terms of proportional increase in literacy, but also should be examined in terms of changes such as immigration. Immigration will result in better quality of life in the region. Migration also affects the culture of both the places that migrants live and those in which they resettle. People from different cultures in a place leading to diverse culture with which the mental horizon of the people widens at large. It also results in evaluation of composite culture and the breakdown of narrow cultures. Along with this, the mental horizon of the people widens at large. It has negative effect also, like creation of social vacuum. Individuals feel a sense of dejection. Migrants face serious adaptation problems too. Whenever immigrants arrive in groups, they also bring with them the language and their religion. Language, sometimes it becomes a serious problem when people of different languages migrate in large numbers and live together for long. The fourth one, environmental consequences. There has been an immense pressure in the social and physical infrastructure in urban areas due to the overcrowding resulting from rural urban migration, an increase in the density of population through migration either increase and sometimes burden upon its resources or may enhance the capacity to exploit its resource potential. Ultimately, this overcrowding of people is leading to growth of urban settlement, which is completely unplanned, and this leads slums in urban areas. Other consequences. In rural areas, when male migrants they migrate to cities in search of job, it puts extra burden and mental pressure on the women of those families. When women migrate for education and employment, it enhances their role in the growth of national economy, though it also increases their vulnerability. Money sent home by the migrants help in the development of their hometowns or source regions. So migration is leading to loss of highly skilled people. So the mindset needs to be changed in this regard. Thank you.